The Vietnam War, a long and tumultuous conflict, left an indelible mark on the 20th century. It deeply divided the United States, sparking heated debates over the country's role in Southeast Asia. To understand America's involvement, we must delve into the historical context. Vietnam, with a long history of resisting foreign powers, struggled for independence post-World War II. North Vietnam, led by Ho Chi Minh, sought unification, while the South, supported by the US, resisted. The US, driven by the domino theory, feared the spread of communism in Southeast Asia. This fear fueled America's initial involvement in Vietnam. The early 1960s saw increased American involvement in Vietnam. President Kennedy grappled with the conflict's complexities. He increased military advisors in South Vietnam. The Gulf of Tonkin incident in 1964 was a turning point. Congress passed the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution. President Johnson then launched Operation Rolling Thunder. This escalated the war to full combat operations. For the American soldiers who fought in Vietnam, the war was a brutal and unforgiving experience. They faced a determined enemy, often hidden in dense jungles and complex tunnel systems. The Viet Cong, masters of guerrilla warfare, utilized hit-and-run tactics, ambushes and booby traps, making it difficult for American forces to engage them in conventional battles. The tropical climate of Vietnam added to the hardships faced by American soldiers. Intense heat, humidity, and torrential rains made life in the field challenging. Malaria and other tropical diseases were constant threats, and the lack of sanitation in many areas exacerbated these problems. Beyond the physical challenges, the psychological toll of the war was immense. The constant fear of ambush, the loss of comrades, and the brutality of combat left many soldiers scarred and haunted by their experiences. The average age of a soldier in Vietnam was 19, making the emotional burden even heavier for these young men thrust into the horrors of war. Section 4, Scars of War, the impact on Vietnam and the American home front. The Vietnam War had a devastating impact on Vietnam, both North and South. The relentless bombing campaigns inflicted widespread destruction on infrastructure, villages, and farmland. Millions of Vietnamese civilians were killed or wounded, and countless others were displaced from their homes. The use of Agent Orange, a powerful herbicide by the US military to defoliate jungles and expose enemy hiding places, had long-lasting and devastating consequences. The chemical, later found to be highly toxic, contaminated vast areas of land and water, leading to serious health problems for generations of Vietnamese people. In the United States, the war became increasingly unpopular. The growing number of American casualties, the horrors of war depicted in the media, and the draft, which disproportionately affected working-class and minority youth, fueled anti-war sentiment. Section 5. The Fall of Saigon and the End of an Era. By the early 1970s, the tide of the war had turned against the United States and its South Vietnamese allies. The Paris Peace Accords, signed in 1973, officially ended American involvement in the conflict. However, the agreement proved fragile, and fighting soon resumed between North and South Vietnam. On April 30th, 1975, North Vietnamese forces captured Saigon, the capital of South Vietnam, marking the fall of the South Vietnamese government and the end of the Vietnam War. The image of American helicopters evacuating personnel from the roof of the US Embassy in Saigon became an enduring symbol of the war's chaotic end. The fall of Saigon had a profound impact on the United States. It shook the nation's confidence in its military might and its role as a global superpower. The war left deep scars on American society, dividing the nation and sparking debates about the morality and wisdom of American foreign policy. Section 6. Legacies of conflict. The Vietnam War's enduring impact. Although the Vietnam War ended over 4 decades ago, its legacies continue to shape the United States and Vietnam. In Vietnam, the war left behind a legacy of physical and emotional scars. The country faced the daunting task of rebuilding its infrastructure and healing the wounds of war. The United States grappled with the war's aftermath, facing a crisis of confidence in its leadership and its role in the world. The war also left an indelible mark on American culture, influencing its music, literature, and film. The Vietnam War serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of conflict and the enduring impact of war on individuals, nations, and the world. It is a story of courage, sacrifice, loss, and the complexities of war and its aftermath.